Good morning, everyone. My name is Ronnie Fishkin. I'm with Mann Travels, and I really appreciate you being here today. A couple of housekeeping items, just so you know. We have muted you all, so if your phone rings or your dog barks or anything like that happens in your house, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll probably also take you all off video, so if you have, bedhead, you're all good. We don't care. And if you have questions, please use the chat function and we'll try and get some of those questions answered at the end of the presentation. It'll be about 20 minutes or so, and if anyone wants to stay after and send some questions, happy to answer them. So if you're here today, I'm guessing that you are interested in a road trip, and you're in really good company, because travel industry professionals know that the first vacations people are going to be comfortable taking after the pandemic are domestic road trips. Social distancing, feeling comfortable in your own car, lots of reasons for it. We know there's going to be a big push for domestic road trips. Quite frankly, it's not something that Mann Travels was known for pre-pandemic, but we are now up to speed, really ready, waiting to help you plan this fabulous road trip adventure. And if you have ideas that you get from today, please reach out to your advisor and let them help let them help you plan a great road trip. Future travel could mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but we know domestic road trips are going to be popular. And today I'm going to spend all of the time talking about Southeast adventures. So I know that the country is full of road trips we could talk about, iconic road trips like Route 66 through the Heartland, or Big Sur in California, or the Maine coastline. And there's just tons of them. But for the purposes of today, for about 20 minutes, we're going to talk about Southeast adventures. And then if you have ideas of other places you'd like me to cover, happy to do it. And I can do another presentation some other time. A lot of the destinations we cover today are maybe places you're familiar with. I hope I add a little something that you don't know about, maybe an excursion you didn't think about, or a resort or accommodations you didn't know about. We're going to be in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, Washington, D.C. So that's what I'm going to cover today. All right, so first up, North Carolina, Western North Carolina. This is the shortest drive we're going to talk about today because it's so close, and most of us have been to Asheville. But I'm going to suggest that going to Asheville can also mean stopping at Mount Mitchell State Park on the way. So sort of halfway between Charlotte and Asheville is Mount Mitchell State Park. Mount Mitchell is the highest peak on the East Coast, so that means amazing views around the Blue Ridge Mountains, and the state park has just recently reopened a lot of the trails that were closed in March and April. So you can pack a picnic lunch, you can see the gorgeous waterfalls, enjoy those fabulous views, really have a socially distanced kind of day out in the countryside. I would also consider maybe waiting till the weather breaks a little bit and going when the leaves turn. You'll see in that first photo, the North Carolina mountains offer amazing fall foliage views. Plan early. It's a popular time to be there, obviously, but that's something that you might consider. It's just a month or two away. Down the road, about an hour down the road from Mount Mitchell, is Asheville. And whether you're into fabulous culinary experiences, artist studios, going to visit artists as they're working in their actual studios, or history, this town has really something for everyone. This is a trolley car. You can go on around town to see the sights. And then this, of course, is the famous Biltmore Estate. So the Biltmore Estate is the largest home that was built as a private home in the country, built by the Vanderbilts. Many of you, I'm sure, have been there before. There is It's a museum. There are gorgeous grounds and gardens. There's a winery on the grounds as well. What I'm going to suggest is that if you've been before and you feel like going again, maybe go during Christmas time. So starting in sometime in November, they decorate for Christmas. And if you haven't been there for that, that's worth a repeat visit. Outside the grounds of the Biltmore Estate is this hotel called the Grand Bohemian. It's a wonderful property, fabulous location. We recommend it for a visit to Asheville. And then here's another recommendation, quite different. One is sort of old world. This is much more eclectic and modern. It's a Kimpton. It's the Hotel Aris. It is in a converted bank building. So it's really cool architecture, and they've done a beautiful job converting it. Please know that when you book with Mann Travels, all the hotels and resorts that I'm going to talk about today offer our clients exclusive amenities, which make it a good reason to book with Mann Travels. If you book these hotels on your own, you might not get these exclusive amenities. They could range from a breakfast for two, perhaps, a spa or a bar credit, maybe an upgrade, a late checkout. They vary. Please make sure your advisor talks to you about those exclusive amenities that you wouldn't receive if you book them on your own. So we're going to head now a little south. We're going to go to those gorgeous coastal cities south of us, Charleston and Savannah. So there is truly a reason why Charleston is one of the favorite cities to visit in the United States. It always ends up on the top 10 list of most visited cities. I think it's the city that's #1 for destination weddings and bachelorette parties, and there's a lot of reasons why. There are nearby beaches, there's history, there's charm. This horse-drawn carriage ride takes you through the city and shares all the architecture and the charm and history of the city. So you can indulge your foodie passions there for sure. The food and restaurants in Charleston are amazing. You can shop at an outdoor market for souvenirs, or you can go to an upscale boutique. Everything in between. This picture is the gorgeous Belmont Charleston Place, smack in the middle of the historic district of Charleston. It is a gorgeous luxury property, elegant, wonderful, really recommend it. This is the Hotel Bennett. And so it's a little smaller, a little more boutique, maybe a little more just eclectic, or has a little personality, let's say. So that's another property that we have in our portfolio that gives amenities. The other option, if you're in the Charleston area, that I would love for you to consider is to stay at the beach. So Charleston is 20 minutes away from Isle of Palm and these lovely beach properties. So if you prefer to stay at the beach and drive into the city for the day, or even drive into the city for dinner, it's possible. This is the Boardwalk Hotel in Wild Dunes, which is a community on Isle of Palm. Great property. This is the luxurious Sanctuary on Kiowa. So Kiowa is another barrier island outside of Charleston. And the Sanctuary is really magnificent, gorgeous property in Kiowa. And here's the property that not a lot of people know about, I think. It is called the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina. It's actually in Mount Pleasant, which is really between Charleston, the city, and the beaches. It has a private beach. It has great family activities. The reviews from clients that we have sent there have been fabulous. So it may not be on your list, but I would put it there because it's really fabulous. So now we go to Savannah. Savannah is 4 hours from Charlotte. Charleston a little less, probably about 3. And Savannah has the charm and the history of that Charleston has. It also has some hip and sort of odd things. It's known in some areas for its spooky cemeteries. There's a tour you can take of Savannah's cemeteries, but it's got really beautiful architecture as well. And of course, it has these fabulous trees that are all over the area. They are live oaks. They're drooping, curved branches with the hanging Spanish moss. To me, it looks like a movie set. It is quintessential Savannah. We recommend staying at, there's two properties I'm going to tell you about. This is the Ondas. It's really a contemporary experience in Savannah. And then this is also the Perry Lane, which recently became a member of the prestigious luxury collection. Fabulous property. I'm also going to mention that Hilton Head is just an hour, less than an hour really, outside of Savannah. So just like in Charleston, you can stay at the beaches. Hilton Head is famous for fabulous properties to stay in, and you can stay there and visit the city if you like a beach vacation. Since we're in this area, I would also be remiss if I didn't share with you some photos of the fabulous Montage in Palmetto Bluffs. Palmetto Bluffs is literally between Savannah and Hilton Head. And the Montage is a wow property. So you may have heard of Montage properties. There's one in Hawaii. There's one in Southern California, Deer Valley. I can't remember where else. Oh, Cabo. And we have one in our backyard, just a few hours from us. This is a special occasion kind of resort. And if you looking for a weekend special kind of getaway, please think about the Montage Palmetto Bluff. Okay, we're off Kentucky. Look at that sky, it's gorgeous. So many things come to mind when you think about Kentucky, right? So of course, horse racing and the famous Kentucky Derby come up. And we also think about good food and fun music, but really, let's be honest. When you think about Kentucky, you really think about the bourbon, and we know that. So we can arrange a tour, a bourbon tour in Kentucky. So in just a few days, you can go through Louisville, Lexington, and Bardstown to experience that true Kentucky culture and visit the storied traditions of those world-famous distilleries. I would recommend having Mann Travels arrange transportation for you so that you and your friends don't have to worry about bourbon tastings and then driving. We can arrange something where you visit 4 distilleries or 14 distilleries. That's your choice. And while the drinking bourbon may be one of the main attractions, I did mention music. Kentucky is the birthplace of bluegrass, and the different sounds in the different regions of the state are really fun to experience. Maybe consider a little steamboat travel, a boat ride on the Ohio River, or you can even hike the Red River Gorge nearby. And of course, you'll eat well too. You'll see this theme through my entire presentation. Everywhere we go, we talk about the food because it's pretty important. But I realized after when I was practicing this presentation that food seems to have a big place in my presentation. You'll see in a few minutes. So in Kentucky, you can go either way. You can have beer, cheese, and barbecue, which is, all over the place, or you can also enjoy some new cutting edge cuisine. You can find both easily in this state. I didn't pull out any particular properties in Kentucky because we talked about cities all over the state, but talk to your Mann Travels advisor and they'll find you the right one with exclusive amenities that fits your budget and your itinerary. All right, next we're going back south again, Amelia Island. Beautiful Amelia Island. I want to show you where it is because not everybody's familiar. Amelia Island is actually the southernmost point in the chain of sea islands that goes from South Carolina all the way down to the tip of Florida. We talked about some of those islands before, like Isle of Palm outside of Charleston. So you can see on this map all the way down almost to Jacksonville. Amelia Island is the southernmost considered in this chain of sea islands. And it is a tiny island. It's only 13 miles long. And so it really gives you a quiet, relaxed, very private experience. In fact, a lot of people drive there and then park their car and never use it again. They get around by bike, walking, or maybe even golf cart takes them. And the beaches are pristine. You're just not going to find crowds there. This is downtown. There's places to walk here in this area, this very walkable downtown historic district. Tons of shops and restaurants, bars and galleries that profile local artists are there. It's really a lovely place to spend an afternoon. We like to recommend the Carlton in Amelia Island. It's up on a bluff overlooking the Atlantic. It's really true coastal beauty, but it's also filled with tons of family activities. It's one of only 14 hotels in the US to be awarded the 2 5-diamond ratings. So that's something that I wanted to point out. It's a special property. There's also the Omni Amelia Island Plantation, and also gorgeous views from this property, also family friendly, also with amenities with Mann Travels. Okay, next we are going back north again, and we're going to head to Washington, D.C. and Virginia. So I know that you don't need me to tell you about Washington, D.C., but if you haven't been there since your 5th grade school trip, I think maybe you should try it again. There's a dizzying amount of things to do there, and the monuments, the Capitol, the White House, obviously, all the museums, you know about all that. But I want to give you a couple of things that may be considered secret gems, so that if you're going and you've already done all those typical things, you'll have something to see. For example, the embassies, the international embassies in DC often have something for visitors. This is a dramatic 3-story mural in the Mexican embassy, and it depicts the relationship the two countries have had over the decades. It's really something to see. So I'm also told that the Argentinian embassy gives tango lessons, and the French embassy offers cooking lessons. So there's lots of little things to do. Seek out those hidden gems around DC. There are also, along with countless hidden gems of things to do, there's also tons of hotels, countless hotels, everything from traditional luxury to small boutique. But what I'm going to suggest is that when you're in this area, you take a drive in the beautiful Virginia countryside. So just an hour or so outside of DC, you hit the rolling hills of Virginia, and this is the beautiful town, small town of Middleburg, Virginia. So it's towns like this that really allow you to step back in time. Middleburg has more than 160 buildings that are on the National Register of Historic Places. That's a lot, and there's a lot to see there, even though it's a small town. And that small town feel really extends to the local art galleries and the local boutiques, very unique, definitely fun to walk around and shop and experience that. In Middleburg, there is a destination to itself, actually, called the Salamander Resort and Spa. It is a 5-star property. Forbes gave it a 5-star, Forbes' travel guide, and tons of interesting and fun different amenities for the whole family. Obviously, your travel advisor would check to make sure they're open at this particular time or what's open, but they have a world-class spa. They have an equestrian center, tons of dining options, a cooking school. The list is long. Okay, we're going to Tennessee now. Tennessee, look at that gorgeous sky. So just west of North Carolina and on the other side of the mountains lies Tennessee and its very famous capital, the Music City, Nashville. So this road trip to Tennessee appeals to people who like good food, good music, and just an overall good time. We often associate Nashville, of course, with country music. So the Grand Ole Opry and the Country Music Hall of Fame, those are must-sees. But folks in Nashville actually bristle a bit when you think that they're just a one-note town, because there's every kind of music played live there every night. You can hear it all. In fact, there's also something brand new. This is the National Museum of African American Music. It either just opened or it's about to open, and it treats visitors to this unique narrative through the lens of Black music. And an example of the fact that there's really a big diversity of music in Nashville. Here it is again, food, folks. Nashville's a great food town. Condé Nast Traveler recently said that the food scene in Nashville is really breaking through all kinds of stereotypes and offering a glimpse of the New South in its offerings. It is especially true in East Nashville. So in that area of town, there are apparently at least 20 new restaurants that have opened in the last couple of years. And you can do so many things in Nashville that are also outdoors. There's hiking and great outdoor stuff. There's art galleries, there's shopping, you name it. Here is the Hotel Bobby. It is a boutique lifestyle hotel that we like to recommend. It's got a rooftop lounge, a beautiful pool. Also memorable, this is the Thompson, very luxurious, very easy access to Broadway's music venues. And finally, no discussion of Nashville's properties would be complete without the famous Hermitage. It is the state's only five-star, five-diamond property. It is a city institution since 1910. Remember, let Mann Travels help book those for those exclusive amenities. Our last stop on our road trip today, Sweet Home, Alabama. So again, it may not be the first thing you think of when you think of Alabama, but let's talk about food, okay? Southern barbecue. Now, if that doesn't do it for you, or if you're tired of it, or if you feel like trying something different when you're on your road trip, how about oysters? Alabama is the largest producer of Gulf oysters because they're on the Gulf, obviously. And when you're visiting that state, you can get them stuffed, steamed, raw, grilled, baked, sauteed, scalloped. I think that might be it, but there may be more ways. Speaking of the Gulf, the Alabama, the southern part of the state, is on the beach, 32 miles of coastline, gorgeous white sand beaches. The north part of the state is the mountains. And of course, it's known also for its beautiful golf courses. Golf's a big activity in Alabama. And so are the rich traditions of colleges like Alabama. So if you like that big school kind of experience, visit Alabama or Auburn or those kinds of things. That's a big draw in Alabama. But also, we all know that Alabama is a centerpiece in the civil rights movement. You can, it's the home of the Martin Luther King Church. It is the home of the famous Rosa Parks bus ride. And of course, it is also where you could visit the Edmund Pettus Bridge that's recently been in the news again because of the passing of civil rights icon, Congressman John Lewis. The cultural and historical significance in Alabama is really enormous and particularly timely today as our country is grappling anew with issues of race in 2020. So if that's something that interests you, this kind of historic look at civil rights issues, I'm also going to recommend that you go somewhere called civilrightstrail.com. The website offers lots of places to visit throughout the country. I think it's as far wide as Kansas, all the way to Washington, D.C., obviously in Alabama. It offers lessons about our struggles with civil rights that really still resonate today and gives you some itinerary ideas. So that wraps it up today on our little Southeast road trip adventure. I could go on and on. We've obviously missed a lot of places, maybe some of your favorites, and I'll do it again. If you want to get in touch with me and let me know where you want to hear about, I'm happy to help. Reach out to your advisor or email me at vacations@manntravels.com or call that phone number and let us know what you're interested in hearing a presentation about. In the meantime, though, don't be afraid to get out there. Gas up the car, download some books and music on tape, tell your neighbors to water your plants, and get on the road. Thanks for joining us.